without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next speaker. We're very honoured to have Catherine Bearder here. I think I can say that Catherine Bearder is a committed Liberal Democrat. Other parties are available, but is a very senior member of the party and is the one at present, the one Liberal Democrat MEP. She has a very distinguished career, and much of that actually was in Oxfordshire. She's been both district councillor in Charwell and county councillor, and she has worked her way up to her current status. She's been an MEP for the past 10 years and has been extremely active. I'm always absolutely astonished at her level of activity, and whenever I've had conversations with her and her staff, there are 4 or 5 balls in the air at the same time. But within the European Parliament, she'll tell you a bit more in a moment about what she does, but she's certainly been very distinguished in several areas. I think among others that come to mind are the environment, wildlife, gender equality, and of course British-European relations. And she's president of the Liberal Democrat European Group, and within the European Parliament, one of her important roles is chair of the Artistic Committee. Another is being a questor, and you'll see what is a questor. I hope we will learn more about that in a moment. So Catherine has come to talk in particular from the perspective of somebody who has worked in both Britain and Europe about the importance to us of maintaining good relationships with our European colleagues. Catherine.
Well, speaking as somebody who thought she would be retired on the 29th of March, yes, I'm having to work a bit longer, but that's a gleeful prospect, because it means that we are still full members, and we are still full members of the European Union, and for me that's wonderful. People often ask me when I say I'm an MEP, and they say, well, what on earth is an MEP? And then if they find out I'm a questor, they think I'm something out of Harry Potter. So I hope I have enough time to get round to that. I will talk a little bit about my work in the Parliament, because it is an illustration of what Timothy has been saying about how we come together and work together. And the European Union is a project. It's a project to deliver peace, to deliver trade, to deliver human rights, and latterly environmental protection, although that's not so firm in the treaties, but it is a fourth issue that is getting more traction. It's not perfect. Of course it's not perfect. There is no perfect system of governance, but it's a jolly sight better, as we've heard earlier, than the ones that we've had before, where we come together and we work out our problems in a grown-up, sensible way. And for me, the European Parliament illustrates that, and why it's such a joy for me to be working there, because we do come together. It's grown-up politics. It's a sort of politics that women are much more likely to be attracted to. We don't sit opposite each other and shout at each other. We sit together, we work together, and I'll give you an illustration of that in a little while. The foundation of the project is, of course, the single market, which is a British project. It was Mrs. Thatcher that wanted to bring that in, and the 4 principles of that are the free movement of labour, and that's what we've just heard about, the migration, the freedom to work, to live, to retire anywhere in the European Union, the movement of capital, and there is still some way to go on the free movement of capital, but we're getting there, of services and of goods. And services is very important. When you hear the Brexiteers talking about WTO, WTO does not cover services. So all of the services that come out of London and Norwich and Bournemouth and the industries that we have in services are really threatened by that. And so we have the 3 main institutions. There are others, but the 3 main institutions is the Council, where the government ministers and the heads of government sit and meet regularly. And then you have the Parliament, where the citizens directly elect through proportional representation, people like me who come and work together. We are your representatives. I don't represent my government. I don't represent my party. I sit in a political group, but I represent the citizens of the southeast of England and of the whole of the European Union. And that's not sure whether it was a cheer or what. It is different from the other institutions. And then the final one, of course, is the Commission. Those unelected bureaucrats that Farage will have you think that are controlling our every move. The Commission are the council officers, if you like. They are the people who do the work that we instruct as politicians, both from the member states as well as from the Parliament. And the Commission is headed, each department in the Commission is headed by a representative from 28 of the member countries. And they have to come in front of the Parliament, and we interrogate them. It is an interrogation, it's 3-4 hours sometimes, and we, as the committees, will then decide if we will accept them as commissioners. And it has in the past. We have refused to have commissioners. Even in the last round, one lady was clearly, I don't know, the sister-in-law of the Bulgarian minister, something or other, and she had been sent off to Brussels to get rid of her, I think, and she clearly was not up to the job, and by the time she'd finished her interview, she had resigned. So they are nominated by elected governments, and they are scrutinised by your representatives in the Parliament. So never listen to the Brexiteers who say they're unelected, the people in the Commission, any more than they are, you elect your officers of your planning officers or your environmental health officers. So what we do, of course, most people know that we go to Strasbourg once a month, which is the most annoying. Anybody you know, unless they're French or live in Strasbourg, or maybe some of the Germans, but most people see it as crazy. That we have to go to Strasbourg when all our work is done in Brussels. We would change it if we could, but it's in the treaties. So we can't change the treaties. Only the council can do that, the heads of government. And that possibly might come up in the next treaty change, who knows. So we do our committee work in Brussels, and then the committees do the amending of legislation, or they respond to legislation that has come through from the agenda set by the governments. And then all the committees come together in Strasbourg and we vote on those. I would just say a very quick word about being a quaestor. There are 5 quaestors in the Parliament elected by the MEPs to oversee the work of the Parliament services. So the restaurants in the Parliament, all the services that we might get, making sure that the place is warm and the roof doesn't leak, comes down to the quaestors. So we monitor all that. And as you said, one of my jobs is I'm in charge of the art collection, which is an amazing art collection. It's a contemporary collection of works. Some of it, being contemporary, is completely mad, and some of it is very beautiful. But it's a challenge that we have there, and we have to wait because since the financial crash we have no budget, so we have to wait for people to donate. And then it's a bit embarrassing if we say, no, we don't want it, it's not good enough. But it's a fascinating, for me, absolutely fascinating to be working on the inside of the Parliament and see how the machinery of the Parliament works, as well as being on the committee. I can see I'm very rapidly running out of time, but I wanted to give you an example of the cross-party work. When the new Commission came in 5 years ago, it was very clear that Juncker and his team hadn't got the first clue and didn't care about the environment. And as you've heard, I'm very much what got me into politics was my concern about what we're doing to the planet. And I realised that we needed to do something serious about wildlife crime, which is the 4th largest crime on the planet. So I pulled together a cross-party group. We have somebody from every group except EF Farage's group and the National Front, and we worked together cross-party. We say we worked with the Commission. We blooming well made sure that they came forward with an EU action plan on wildlife crime. It took some doing, but they've come forward with it. I was the author of the report that put it through to the Parliament, and we added stuff into that, and we demanded that there was money put into Europol. That was one big missing factor. And we managed to get the budget of Europol changed, so it now includes wildlife trafficking. So that action plan wouldn't have happened had the Parliament not been working cooperatively. Europol would not have the tools, and they can't work on things that are not in their budget and on their agenda. I'm also, as an MEP, a representative on the African, Caribbean and Pacific Joint Parliamentary Assembly. All the MEPs sit on overseas delegation, and I think the footprint of the European Union is not recognised in this country and how enormous it is worldwide. And I also took a report to the ACP, Joint Parliamentary Assemblies, where those countries welcomed action and work on wildlife crime. So taking it right from the Commission when they came in, right the way through and working cross-party collaboratively, we have managed in 117 countries, I think is in the ACP group and the European group, to change the attitude on wildlife. I haven't quite got that full ivory ban across the European Union, but who knows, in a few months' time I might manage to do that with a new Commission. But thank you, but that's a whistle-stop tour of my time in the European Parliament and how constructive it is and really what people will be doing, electing more of us MEPs. And if we can stop Brexit, then we can continue to do building bridges across Europe and building a much stronger and much more effective Parliament.
Wonderful presentation, wonderful timekeeping. And I just to add to that, in light of what Timothy said earlier, yes, the electoral system for the European Parliament has its deficiencies. It's the whole system. The parties gaining less than 11% of the vote are very unlikely to elect any MEPs in any constituency. This one is the largest in the country. However, compared to Westminster, it is actually a very fair system because it's much more likely that your vote will count. I'm very mindful, living in a constituency where and I won't name any particular political parties, but where the incumbent is unlikely to change anytime soon, that actually votes in Westminster in the vast majority of constituencies don't achieve change. In Europe they do, and that's another argument for voting.